I cannot believe that HBO Max, or as they are now calling themselves, Mox, is going to be making a new Harry Potter series. Okay, so for those that do not know, obviously you have Harry Potter. There are 7 books, but there are 8 movies. It split that last one into 2 movies. Okay, part 1 and part 2. So what they're planning on doing now is have a series. Be like, oh wow, that's actually not that bad, right? Well, here is the problem that I have. Okay, it's like we already had a star-studded cast and we got to see them age, we got to see them grow up from the kids to just having, the adults and seeing their characters progress. So it's like, do we really need anyone else? I mean, we have Alan Rickman who passed. Who's going to be the new Snape now? You know what I mean? Who's going to really fill those shoes that he was able to fill? Daniel Radcliffe. Are you going to have that same kind of personality? Because what you have to do is do exactly what they did with the movies, which means you will have to age the person with the movies. With each season, they will have to age. So I'm like, okay, it is what it is. I mean, they already greenlit it. They're going to start working on the show. I'm just not a huge fan of it. I know another complaint was actually people mentioning like, okay, so what's going to happen with like the casting? Because are you a Rupert Grant? Are you a Emma Watson? Are you a Daniel Radcliffe? Are you going to sell us how they sold us from the get-go? Who's going to be our Hagrid? Who's going to be our, McGonagall? Who is going to sell these characters? And, it's like, it may be hard. It may be extremely difficult for them to find someone who is going to give us what it is that we're looking for, what it is that we need. Now, and another lore of it that they have is that they're trying to do a true adaptation of the book. So right now I'm actually reading the books. Right now I am on Order of the Phoenix. I'm about halfway through it. Okay. So I've noticed the differences, and as I'm reading, I'm like, oh, wait, that doesn't happen here. That happens here. Oh, y'all cut it out, but I'm not tripping like that. But then I'm like, do I really need to see that? You know what I mean? We already know the story. We already had the characters. We already had all this stuff. Do we really need to see that now? Okay. Now if you said, oh, okay, well, they're going to do it later on. If it was done like years ago, okay, fine. But I just don't really think that it's necessary. There's certain things that they should have kept in the movies. The movies were about 2.5 hours long or something like that. I feel like they really could have pushed it to a 3-hour movie. I mean, nowadays you got too many movies being 3-hour movies or almost 3-hour movies. So I feel like they could have put some of these other little tidbits in there. As I said, I'm an Order of the Phoenix. The whole House of Black, the noble House of Black. There's so many different things that they completely took out. And it's like, I wouldn't mind, but I just don't really see it being necessary to have that part in there. There's certain things that I would like to see. Like if they were to do this whole series, I would have done a different story. Okay. This could have been like a little mini series kind of thing where you talk about the House of Black, or you just talk about the elves, the house elves. Maybe this is a whole kind of little mini series about the origins of the house elves, how they became how they are, and who have they served. And you get to see different people that they have served. And as we know, you had Winky and you had Dobby, and they kind of knew each other, well, not kind of, they knew each other. So it's like, okay, well, can we see that kind of thing? Do the house elves interact with other house elves? How does that look? That would be something interesting, and we could center it on the House of Black because it's the ancient noble House of Black. Okay, they go back so far. That would be a really cool house. And then because, as we know, not too many purebloods, so they intermix with the Malfoys and intermix over here. That would have been a really cool thing, as opposed to just seeing the same story. I mean, if you read the book and you see it, it's like, I don't really need this. You know what I mean? Not really. You could use your imagination at this point. But this would be really cool to expand a little bit more on the house elves and to center it around the House of Black. That would have been cool. The second kind of thought that I had was, if you're going to do a series, let's have it be about Harry's parents being in school, so that would put Snape in there. McGonagall still be in there. Obviously Dumbledore would be in there. All these other little people in there as well. And it would be really cool just to see how mischievous they are and how they turned into animals, how they became animagus. That would be really cool to see that. That would be cool to see how James was an amazing seeker, how McGonagall was there too, and all of this. It's like, what is going on? Y'all really just was like, no, we don't want to do that. Really, y'all? Really? We don't want to see this? Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I was like, this is what I want to see. I want to see them in school. That's what everyone's been talking about. I want to see them in school. I want to see how Snape was. And you may say, well, Alex, we got the flashbacks. Yeah. But like in the book, for example, Sirius was like, in Order of the Phoenix, he's like, hey, I want to meet you at Hogsmeade. And they were like, no. The three, they were like, no. Because Malfoy, I think he spotted you. And if he tells his dad and blah, 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 you could get in trouble. And then Sirius makes a point to say, you know what? You aren't as much like your father as I thought you were, because if you were, he would have taken a risk. So I want to see, what kind of risk have they taken? What actually happened in the past? Can I see a little bit of something? Can I see about the secret keeper? I mean, can I see something? I'm like, that's all? Okay. So that's my second kind of thought about this whole thing. Another one that I would love to see if we're going to do a series, okay? And obviously they're going to be making 7 seasons of this. So, at least that's the plan anyways. But another thing I would love to see are about the founders of the school. You got Hufflepuff, you got Ravenclaw, Slytherin, and Gryffindor. I would love to see anything about the founders. I would love to see, like, maybe, I don't know what age they were. They look rather young. When I say young, I mean like they look like they could be in their mid-30s, but what I would say is, okay, well, let's have them be maybe 18 and let's see each individual story. And then let's see them getting together and blah, 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 blah. And then progressing and, okay, let's all form the school and the trials and tribulations they have to get through to get to building the school. Who built the school for them? Was it just these 4 that did it? Who else helped? Let's see about that. What kind of laws? How did the ministry come into play? Can we see a little bit more about the founders of the school? Besides a sword, a locket, a diadem, and a chalice. Can we see just a little bit more? Can we know just a little bit more about them? And maybe we could even add into, the fact that, their parents. Maybe we could put some of that in there. I'm just spitballing right now, but I'm like, yo, this would actually be pretty cool to see their backstories and how they were, what their families were like, what kind of life did they live, and how they all came to meet up. And then obviously we have Slytherin. He's like, well, I'm going my own way because I only want purebloods. And can we get a little bit more on that? You could spend a good amount of time on it. Because you have a lot of people who are like, well, Slytherins, they just don't want anyone who ain't pure blood, and, they're evil and this and that and that third. But if you really think about it, there's another angle to that. They don't want anyone, in my opinion, they don't want anyone who is not pure blood, because we've seen what these non-magical people have done to wizards and witches. We've seen what they have done. Okay? Why do you think that we have to have our own little secret world over here? Because of what they may possibly do again. And I want to see, what all did these muggles do? And how does this affect his decision? Why is he so adamant on not having any mudbloods or, whatever, any kind of not pure blood people? I want to see that. Because it's not just like, oh, well, we're the more elite. Of course, anything that starts out always gets kind of transferred and muddied over the course of time. But I'm sure, I feel anyways, that it probably started out as like, yo, I want to protect the sacred magic that we have in the school that we're building. I don't want any outsiders in here, because even whether or not they're magic, we know what these muggles are capable of, and they may try to, harm us. They may try to do something to us. And I want to go deep into that kind of story. Like, okay, well, what is he talking about? Can I get an example? What does that look like? I also want to go and dig deep into, and this would be, I guess, my fourth point now, of a variation that I would like. I want to dig deep into the other schools, but I want to see more of the international stuff. Can we see the Frenchies? Can we see the Bulgarian people? Can we see, like, okay, this is how this school became what it is. We could see how it became what it is, or hey, we're opening up this new school, and then we get into it. How did the headmasters get appointed? Why are they in, like, Durmstrang, for example? Why is it so much of a secret? It's not in any books where it's located. Why is it not in any books where it's located? What kind of school do you guys have? That's something I would really like to see. What is it shaped like? Is it like a castle, like Hogwarts? Or what does it look like, and how big is it? Is it a much smaller kind of school? Or, we don't know anything, so I'm like, I would rather explore that. And of course, you have your own creative license with it. And of course, you will be partnering with J.K. Rowling as well. So maybe she's like, you know what? That's something I didn't explore as much in the books, but let me do this. Let me do this. Let me do this. Can we get a little bit more? I want a little bit more. I want a little something different that isn't just what people have read or what people have seen. And also, like I said, it was a star-studded cast. Are you guys going to be able to live up to what it is that we saw? That's all. Is that too much to ask for, y'all?